under attack in war. God's work is done not by force, nor by strength, but by the Spirit of God. Zechariah chapter 4, verse 6. The ECS strongly condemns the current torture of priests and the closure of the church by the chiefs, community leaders, and youth involved. It is now over 3 years that the ECS leaders have continued to be humiliated, tortured, and restricted to move and worship freely by the youth and the local authorities in Bor town. Last week, Bor community leader and the chiefs, mainly from Makwach Payam, mobilized heavily armed youth to forcefully close the churches that are loyal to ECS administration in Bor town. They sealed the doors of the main church known as St. Peter's Parish, Langbarbi, and up to now the church is closed while the government is watching. The ECS leadership is displeased with the failure of the government not giving equal rights and protection to ECS like the other churches and denominations in Bor town. Today, in the name of the Almighty God, we call upon the government to immediately give orders for our church in Bor to be open for worship as soon as possible, and give freedom to all ECS bishops, clergy, and faithful move and operate freely in Bor town. Despite of all the intimidations and oppressions ongoing, we call upon all ECS members in Bor town not to repay evil with evil, but to be peaceful as we wait for the government intervention. If nothing is done, then we may think of what to do nationally and internationally as the Anglican Communion. Thank you.
Okay. For us, the question. Your name?
Yes, my name is Santo. I work with the Juba Echo. You addressed initially, there has been talks mediated by the government that brokered that led to the initial agreement that you agreed to remove the defrogging of the Bishop Akunti. But then you had a press conference at this also, and then you said the bishop should first go and do consultation for a period of 2 weeks. Has he reported back? That's number one. And then number two, has the bishop reported back, okay, since the incident? I had a conversation with the Honorable Michael Makwe, who is from the area, from Jongle, and what he told me was like, the bishop came up with the report, Bishop Akudu came back with the report, gave to you, and then you just put it down, you said you are going to respond at your own time. What do you have to say about that? Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, I did go to the government to request the government for 4 things. The letter of the discussion is here. If you want it, it is open. And then the president responded. When the president responded, he gave 4 orders which are here. The first thing was for Akurdit to adhere to ECS regulations. The second thing was Akurdit must apologize. And then the third thing was Akurdit should be reinstated by the ECS primate. And then the fourth thing here are those shooting people must be brought to book. These are the resolutions. If you want to see them, they are here. And we did receive apology from Reuben Akurdi. According to ECS constitution, all bishops and clergy are to retire at the age of 65, which Akurdi is already past the age of retirement. We were ready that we will receive him into the dignity of the church and retire him. He becomes as our retired clergy. He was not happy. He went back to his people. Then what they wrote back here, if you want, I will show you that Akurdi will not retire. So I already replied him. My reply to him is that everything about him is in his hands. For us, we are ready when he comes. But he is listening to his people that he will not retire. It is in his own hand. Then, during that press conference, I did say clearly, if he doesn't want ECS regulations, he should form his own church, which some people say, no, that was wrong. If he wants ECS, he adheres to ECS regulations as was stated in this resolution. And we are ready at any time to receive him as our retired elder and as our retired priest. Thank you.
And what is the situation on the ground now?
The situation in the ground is just what I've read here to you. They went, mobilized as a community, and then closed ECS churches and tortured ECS priests. That is the situation on the ground. Yes, you, and you.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Manyan David Mayar. You are the legitimate Archbishop and Primate for ECS in the country. Nobody is above you. Why do you think the government is reluctant to work with you in this issue? Thank you.
One thing I want to appreciate the President of the country, His Excellency Salva Kiir, for his clear directives, which are here in the paper. But those under him are the ones sabotaging, maybe for community interests or tribal interests. That is politics.
My name is Helen Toby from Radio Miraya. There were 27 clergymen who were arrested in Bor following the incident. Can we have an update on what their fate and what does this mean to the church?
There are two incidents. The first incident was that another priest who calls himself a bishop took some youths. They came and then destabilized the worshippers in this same St. Peter Parish. That's why they were arrested and they are now released. Then the second incident now is the chiefs and community elders plus youths, they mobilized themselves with guns, came and closed the church, which up to now the church is still closed.
My name is Simon Deng. I work for the government newspaper.
Okay, he was first, then you.
Yeah. Thank you. My name is Charles from the Number One Citizen. You mentioned the next step in case the government fails to come in. What could it be?
It will be decided when time comes. Because we are ECS, we are a majority in this country, we will decide what do we do. And we are Anglican Communion, then we will decide what to tell to the Anglican Communion. We have not yet decided, but we will decide when time comes.
Yeah, my name is Simon Deng. My question is, in fact, if such incidents happen, where do you think the church is heading to? Previously, when the Archbishop Moses Anur gave his statement, it was cited that these are community leaders and politicians. Are they identified? What do you think would be the way out of such mess?
involvement of community leaders, traditional chiefs in the church, that is a mess. The only way forward is for traditional leaders and community leaders to leave the church alone. Politicians not to hijack the church for their political interests. That's the only way forward. The church is non-tribal. If we take it along tribal lines, that is not a church. So the whole confusion is the communities who do not understand the difference between the church and the community affairs. So in church language, we say it needs continuous discipling and teaching that they may understand.
Someone said the ECS belongs to us.
Just you talk, then after him it will come to you.
My name is James from iRadio. In your speech, you talked of government zone being reluctant about helping the current situation which is ongoing. Now, looking at the clear directives from the president, whom do you think is now bigger than that disobeying the orders of the president?
The local government and the politicians from Bortown are the ones dodging this directive, which is clearly from the president's office.
There is a persistent accusation of an email that was sent to Board in January 7, 2020, that you are sending a confusion to Board. Some people are dwelling on that message as a reason to reject Moses Anur and some of your activities that you are doing in Cuba. What can you say to that?
That is not Christian thinking. That is satanic thinking. How can you send confusion? Those are just baseless fabrications that people are trying to make in order to hide behind it. So the church is the church of God. And the church does not belong to a tribe or to a community. The church belongs to Jesus Christ, who is the founder of the church. So it operates by the love and power of God. We cannot take it as tribal or as community. It is the church of Jesus Christ. That's why I am from a minority tribe, and I've been brought by the whole church to lead, not for a particular clan or tribe. So that's why I'm here.
My Lord Bishop, based on the statement you said that ECS in Bor has come under attack. So, is there any casualties or damages in the churches?
Yes, there are people who have been tortured, especially one of our priests, whose photo is here, how he was beaten and tortured by the youths and community leaders. So that is the kind of damages that we have. And also when you see the church, those angry youths, they brought with them generators to seal the doors of the church, and psychological torture and many other things. That is what has been affecting the church leaders involved. For these 3 years, bishops have been humiliated and then sought at, and many evil things that happened.
Oh, thank you. My name is Mamera Brown. I work for the City Review newspaper. I have 2 questions. The first one, last week, I saw a letter that was circulated on social media alleging that you had sent Archbishop Moses Anur to go and confirm the 3 dioceses, the Diocese of Choiquia, Makwai, and I think I need it. Yeah. So I wanted to know whether this letter was true. You did send him, and whether this plan is still in place. Secondly, the church seems divided as we speak right now. And most of us, maybe as the media and also the congregation, they are watching to see the end to what is happening in the church. So is there any plan that you have in place to make sure that this thing ends and to unite the church as the head of ECS? Thank you.
Thank you. The whole ECS is intact. The only divided church is in Bor Town. I think that should be clear. But throughout the country, the church is doing well, is expanding, and is moving harmoniously. Only in Bor Town that there are this hatred, this division and confusion. Simply because I said earlier, people have mixed church with the community, with the clan and tribal politics. That's why all this is happening only in Bor Town, not elsewhere in ECS. And when the community leaves the church alone, politicians do not meddle in church affairs, then the church in Bor will be stable. But as long as people hold it as a community thing, the church may not be stable in Bor Town only, not the whole ECS. And then secondly, you talked about a letter. Yes, that was a genuine letter from my office. In the letter, I did say we need Anu to be involved so that he makes the processes for legitimizing these dioceses. So without Anu being involved, and now with the closing of churches, which means there are no Christians who can form a diocese. So that's the challenge now. Because church work is not done by force or by attacking and then showing might. So that is our limitation.
Yeah, thank you. ECS is best known to be good in following the Bible teachings. And over the years, there's nothing of that such that happened. You did mention about community involvement and politicians, based on their interests. Did you, as the church, identify some politicians who spearheaded this? And what do you think will be done to end this? Because the people now are the ones suffering. And those who are messing up the whole situation are happy. And they don't see anything wrong about it. What is the church?
Thank you. We know the politicians. We have all evidence here. What they are doing, their name, and then what they are saying. We have all the evidence with us. So what is the way forward is what we are now saying, trying to condemn this. Please, politicians, community leaders, leave the church alone. The church is a different institution. So that is only what we can do at the moment. Because no political rallies, nothing. Some politicians use the church platform in order to mobilize and then to raise themselves, which is totally wrong.
Are you open to any negotiation, further negotiation with the Kurdi team?
There is nothing to negotiate. ECS is very ready to receive a Kurdi in accordance to church policies and canons. We are very ready. It is him refusing. Like we have cooked all the food, bring it on the table, then you say, no, I don't want to be cooked this way. So that's the whole thing. There is no negotiation.
My name is Philip. Is Akurditi still on retired list, or you left on the retired list from?
Come again?
Is he still on that? You did mention that his Akurdit, his age is about, in ISIS, if you are about 65 above, you're supposed to retire from the church, from being the bishop of the church. Now, at his age, is he still, like you did mention, is he still active on the, to continue, or is already, like you did mention that he's on the retired list?
His retirement was due in 2021, and all his colleagues, they did retire. And then now he is a retired person, whether he accepts or not, he is already a retired person. Only he created, I don't know whether he created this problem so that he remains, or it came by mistake, I don't know. But he is already a retired bishop. And then we have many retired bishops. If you want, I can mention them. We respect them. They are within the dignity of the church, only that they are out of administration. For example, the former primate, his time came, he stepped down. And now we respect him as our retired priest. If anything, we send him as our retired priest. And he is willing, and many other bishops. It is only Akundi that he is refusing retirement. But he already, in our list, is one of the retired people 2 years or 2.5 years ago.
Yes.
Yes, you, and then we come to you.
Now, if the tensions keeps on increasing, just like you stated that the ECS church is under attack in Bori, before you move to your plan B, is there any need that you will meet the president and discuss concerning the disobedience of the community and the politicians who are involved in attacking the church?
I don't have any need, again, to talk with the president. Because anybody carrying gun, doing violence, that is the prerogative of the government to maintain law and order. And then we don't know why they are keeping quiet. So ours is continue to tell the government that this is within your jurisdiction, please do something.
Yeah. So I just want to get one thing clear. We have been referring to Kudit as a default archbishop. Has that changed now with the reinstatement? One. Number two, we know that bishops, some people outside are saying bishops or the churches are fighting because of resources in the church. How much do you pay your bishop, like a person like a Kudit? How much does he have monthly? Also, you are accusing them of being a community. They are saying also there is a community which is buying you and driving you against their community. What can you say to that?
Thank you. First of all these wrangles is not about resources. In the church we have nothing. What I give to my bishop is 15,000 SSP a month, which is nothing. Nobody can fight for that. But maybe the other benefit is there are some gifts by the Christians. They can give you food, they can give you lift, they can give you whatever. That is the benefit we enjoy as churches, but not that there is a resource, there is salary. No. Then secondly, there is no community behind me driving. My community is the easiest constitution and the canons. That's what I use to work and guide the church. So anybody who does not adhere to constitution and the canons then goes astray from church ways. That's the only thing. So if people say that, yes, the community I have, one of them is the easiest constitution, and then another one is the easiest canons.
Defrocked or retired?
Defrocked is used when somebody is still active, and then you remove the powers from him. But now he's past age of being active in the church. So he's a defrocked and retired. Please.
Thank you. I just want to clarify two things, adding on what his grace has already explained. Number one, a number of you have asked about the way forward. You know, the root cause of the conflict was the issue of three dioceses of Makwai, Anyidi, and Chuaike. And the disagreement was that the constitution of ECS says the only body that is authorized to approve area dioceses is the provincial synod or the general synod. And the general synod was going to be conducted in 2021. And the body that sat in 2019 was the standing committee. And the constitution of ECS says, and it is Article 21, says that only the General Synod can approve area dioceses. So all the areas that were brought into the meeting were actually deferred to the General Synod in 2021. Not only in Jonglei, but actually all internal provinces. So in 2021, those areas were approved by the General Synod. And I was looking for the document. It is with Manyang Gabriel here. You can actually take it, and you will find the name of Mokwai, Anyidi, Chuaike, and other areas that were taken from 2019 to 2021. They are all approved. Then, that is the first step. The second step is the primate will now form what is called an assessment committee. An assessment committee, the primate can only form assessment committee based on the resolution of the General Synod. And in fact, the primate quotes the resolution that based on this resolution, I, the primate of ECS, now form an assessment committee to assess these areas. That committee has now been formed. So the areas are approved, the committee has been formed. What we are waiting for, and this is what his grace was referring to, is for Archbishop Moses Adur to go on the ground, invite the assessment committee, go and assess the area. If they meet the criteria, the next step will be the primate to issue a certificate to all the dioceses. Then the next step will now be for the dioceses to nominate candidates for elections. So basically, the way forward is we are waiting for the people of Jonglei, internal province, and in particular the Diocese of Bor, to welcome His Grace Moses Adur, so that he go and invite the assessment committee, the areas be assessed, and the certificate be issued, their bishops be elected, and then they are consecrated and enthroned. That is the way forward. Secondly, there is the issue of whether it is defrocking or retirement. His Grace has responded to it, but I also want to clarify. Archbishop Akurdi was defrocked, but based on the advice of His Excellency the President, who actually the primate has read out already, he outlined his request to the church. He is the leader of the country, and he is also a church member. He is an elder in the church. His advice was accepted willingly and wholeheartedly by His Grace. Akurdi also accepted. He did well, by the way. He apologized, and then he came to be reinstated. Now, where the issue is no longer about the prophet. Why Akurdi is not the Archbishop now? It is because they are saying he must be reinstated and given another 3 months to run the internal province before he hand over to Archbishop Adur. Now, before he was defrocked, he was going to retire in 2021. And another person, according to the constitution, was going to be elected and enthroned within 3 months. Now, when 2021 came, he was already defrocked, but his retirement age has also come. So another person was elected and enthroned. Okay? Now, when they are demanding that if he is to be reinstated, he is also going to be given another 3 months, even after the retirement. So where we have the disagreement, Jama, is a very little place. Is the 3 months to be given on top of the retirement. He is not broken. The broken is done. So even if he come today, and a number of archbishops here, he will be reinstated today. In fact, I attended the reinstatement twice. The primate has invited me from WOW to come and attend the reinstatement of Archbishop of Badi twice. And at first he did not turn up. The second time he turned up with 3 months. So where we have the issue is the issue of retirement. And now the Archbishop here has been elected, he is in the throne, and they are saying he should be given another 3 months. What do you do with this Archbishop here? You can only do one of the 3. One, you put 2 archbishops in one seat. 2, you remove him by order of the primate, or you ask him to resign. Now, if you put 2, I don't know whether that has worked in your place before. 2, if you remove him, you will have to quote the constitution. What has he done? Why are you removing him? Remember, he was elected by his people. And if he has not done any mistake, removing him will be another crisis. Thirdly, if he resigns, he will also have to quote the constitution. What mistake has he done? Or what is he not happy with in the church? Finally, if you, whatever way you remove him, and then in the end, you want to reinstate him, what do? Do you re-elect him, call the people who elected him to elect him again? Do you reinstate him by order? Do you ask him to reinstate himself alone, if he is the one who has resigned? Remember, those things are not addressed in the Constitution. So basically, giving Archbishop of Badi another 3 months after retirement is putting the church in a very big dilemma that actually may even create more crisis than the one we have now. So basically, I want to make it very clear. Akurdit is not, we are not having a crisis now because of the broken. We are having a crisis because of demand for 3 months on top of already retirement. He is supposed to be reinstated as a retired Archbishop, not because of the broken, but because his retirement age has already passed. Thank you.
Just one question.
Okay.
Those questions are private, yeah.
Okay, on the question of retirement, I believe it comes with something like pension and a package for Okudi. Is it prepared or it has already been given?
It is the tradition of the church that anybody going to retirement, there is a token of appreciation given to him. Secondly, he will remain on the list for what we call incentive for his lifetime. So all these things are there waiting for him, and his colleagues are enjoying.
But we see 3 months. There are very few. Why can't he be reinstated as stated in that letter, and you watch and see?
Yes, if we reinstate him, we do the same to all the retired bishops, starting from Daniel, then who was a primate. He may need 3 months, so I go. Then I think we have 9 or 11 of them, so we do to all of them. So that is a constitutional crisis. Like now, recently, the Minister of Finance was removed. Then you say, no, let's give him 3 months because there were some books he did not balance.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, church is known to test telling the truth. This culture of if my time is up and I cause chaos so that I can be given another token of appreciation, I think this is the culture of the culture. Why are you practicing this in the church?
ever since, we have not seen that in the church. It is only now, during the time of Akudi in Ijombe, that we are struggling with this. And all these other bishops, they retire quietly. Then some are even now we send them, they are still energetic, but they are active, they adhere to our regulations. So it is just a new culture which emerged in Jongole, and then supported by communities, and then we are trying to work. Yes, anything?
I think, thank you very much.